Hello and good morning, good afternoon, or good night, depending on where you are. I hope you've all had a lovely week so far. It's only Tuesday. The sun's shining here in Finland and things are starting to wake up and grow. I just thought I'd make a short video about the reason why I view the world the way I do. Some of you might have asked that question already. Why does this man who I don't even know have those sorts of opinions? So very shortly, without waffling on too much, I was born in 1980, like you already know. I've mentioned that in previous videos. And it just seems that in my lifetime, growing up as a young teenager into an adult, there was a whole sequence of events that were very, very shady. And one of those events that I remember quite clearly in my mind was the Iraqi war and the Saddam Hussein issue. And I just remember as a kid watching that on the news, and it was almost like two guys were talking to each other and playing a computer game or something like that and pressing the button, and then you saw this laser guided missile exploding, and it was just unreal. It didn't feel right. And they were destroying the whole country, basically, all based upon the fact that they were hiding weapons, biological weapons, and all things that Tony Blair had mentioned to us to do with Saddam. And he promised he would show results and photographs of those weapons that he supposedly found. And we never got to see any proof. And when are people going to be held accountable for their wrongful actions? They didn't find any proof of what he was doing. He promised us that he would show us the proof. We never got any proof. And it kind of left me thinking, even as like a young kid, this guy's surely going to go to prison for what he's done. He lied to go to war. And as I grew a bit older and became an older teenager, it was very clear that the only reason they went there was for the oil. And we're not just talking about army personnel that died in that war. We're talking about hundreds and thousands of kids and children, women, families were destroyed. The whole infrastructure was destroyed of their country. And ironically, the same people that sent America and England to war, basically NATO, against Iraq, they were also responsible for rebuilding surprise, surprise, the country of Iraq. And I remember 1 million people were in a protest in London against this Iraqi war. They wanted the proof before they went to war, not after, and then not being able to show any proof. And I just think that so much happens in our everyday lives. There's so much other scaremongering that goes on in the media after these big events that people don't have the time or the capacity to think about what happened 30 years ago, for example. When are these people going to be held accountable for misinformation and lies? Who gives anyone the right to destroy a whole nation based on a lie? And then apparently it was so obvious that it was just because of the oil. And just follow the money, because those same people that decided to go to war have best friends that are builders and steel owners and bridge builders. And so many people got rich out of that. Now, just briefly, I'll mention another one when I grew up that kind of baffles me. Africa. My geography teacher said to me, when you're an adult, Brendan, Africa won't be a third world country anymore. This was like 32 years ago. Well, has anything changed in Africa? Are people still taking advantage of their resources? These are all questions that go through my head. I remember so clearly those things from my childhood and those promises and all the money we've thrown at Africa over the years must add up to billions and billions of pounds. Yet there they are, still suffering of starvation, not having enough water, and having to decide, do I watch the TV today or keep the fridge switched on in a country where there's an abundance of sun? And there would obviously be a possibility to have solar panels, but oh no, it all costs. And what don't they have? Money. So how long are we going to start throwing money at Africa before we wake up to the fact that nothing's changing? Nothing's changing. You give your €20 a month to an African kid. Well, do we really know where that money's going? You get an email back to say that you've got your, oh, thank you for my money and everything else. But do you really think that that child has a laptop to send you that email? I'm not so sure. And Africa's still struggling today. Why? Maybe you could ask yourselves that as well. It's interesting to think about it. And that they still die of malaria. Millions and millions of people die of malaria still. It's absolutely unbelievable. And then when a pandemic comes to Europe and kills a few hundred people or a few thousand people, then we're panicking, then we're worried, then we have to have lockdowns. Imagine how an African person feels that we have to vaccinate everyone here in this country when they don't even have the money or the resources to inject themselves against malaria. Between 1 and 2 million people die of malaria every single year. Every year. But here in Europe, we don't seem to give a damn. Oh, that's in Africa. I can't be bothered to think about that. Let's sweep it underneath the carpet. Of course, I'm sorry if I'm coming across a little bit passionate now, but these things make my blood boil. And then another last issue that I have is with the global warming situation that we had back in the 80s. Again, when I was at school, my geography teacher said, Brendan, when you're an adult, we're going to be able to grow grapes in England. We're not going to see snow anymore. The ice at the ice caps, North and South Pole, will melt away. Coastlines will be flooded. And has any of that happened? There was also somebody else I remember called Al Gore, who made billions and billions and billions out of his Inconvenient Truth film. And although I agree with some of the points on his documentary that he made, like cleaning the air up for people to breathe and not dropping litter and plastic and everything else, he said that snow would be a thing of the past already a few years ago. The coastline of America would already be under 2 meters of water. And then after he makes this documentary warning the whole world population about global warming, he then buys a property by the coast. And this is a worldwide known issue. You probably already know about it. But how long are we going to let these people get away with that? They just got billions. They got more money from winning a Nobel Prize. And we just continue our everyday lives paying our 20% taxes. Taxes is another issue, isn't it? Because they don't seem to pay their taxes. They have these paradises where they pay maybe 2% tax if you're lucky. But when are these false predictions, lies and deceit, when are these people's horrendous predictions, lies and deceit going to get accounted for and punished? Because it doesn't seem to me that none of these people have. And this is the era that I've grown up in. And the reason why I think the way I do, I don't know whether any of you think like that. It would be interesting to know in the comment section about it. But maybe it's not my fault. Maybe that's just the way I've seen things. Maybe that's the world that we live in. But I don't accept it. That world isn't good enough for me. I care about people. I know I can't really do that much help about what's going on in Africa, but I don't have to agree with what's going on in today's world, because people are continuing to destroy Africa into the ground. And I feel for those people. Anyway, I'll leave it there. Just a few things for you all to get thinking about. And this is all I'm doing these videos for, to plant a seed of thought. And why should these rich people get away with what they're doing? If people really want to save the planet, why are we still destroying the rainforest? For example. Anyway, have a lovely morning, afternoon, evening or night. Sleep well if you're going to bed. Have a lovely day, and I'll get back to you later. Bye and take care.